So, Van, we're going to explore a few sides of you. I know there are many. We don't have enough time to get to all of them. But, I wanted to start with Van, the activist, the fighter for social and economic justice. You've talked to me a little bit about how this got started. So I wanted to first have you tell us sort of what drives that.
Probably my dad. I'm always, first thing in the morning, I'm Willie Anthony Jones' son. He passed away in 2008, but my father was born in segregation. He was born in poverty. People always ask, why do black people keep talking about this racial stuff? My mother was born in segregation. My father was born in segregation. This isn't 20,000 years ago. I'm a ninth generation American. Ninth generation. I'm the first person in my family born with all my rights in 68. My cousin Kenya was born in 64. We still didn't have our rights. So when I think about my father, he joined the military at a time when everybody else was trying to get out of the military. He went into the military so he could get some money to go to college. So he went to a little black college, married the college president's daughter, because my dad was like that. But then after he put himself through college, he put his little brother through college. And then he put his cousin through college. And then he put me through college, and my sister. And I just imagine what could he have done if he had been born with a fair shot. And so when I went off to Yale for law school and graduated, I told you this, when my father died, the picture that we put on the funeral program was my father standing in front of Yale Law School with his hands in the air. He grew up in a shotgun shack. And so for me, that day, my family won. And then you have to figure out how you get other families to have that same opportunity. So sometimes they say I'm an agitator, but I see myself as a problem solver. Nothing good happens to black people on accident. Right. It's just not, that's just not how it works. So
agitation is just part of the program.
Yeah, it's a part of. But I have a vow with myself. I never point out a problem that I'm not also pointing out a solution. Like if I can't point to a solution I know will work, then I just let that one go. But there's some good solutions out there I've been proud to be a part of.
Well, let's talk about the entrepreneur side of you. Now, a lot of folks are activists. A lot of folks, join organizations. They do all kinds of things. Not many people are as entrepreneurial about it as you are. And we're going to talk about some of your newest ventures. But tell us first about just how you got, what drove you into that sort of approach? Why did you start organizations as opposed to join them? What was that all about?
I have a bad attitude. I'm not. I would be a terrible employee. I was a terrible employee. And in fact, Eva Patterson, I don't know if you guys know her.
Of course, legend.
Yes. Eva Patterson, when I graduated from Yale Law School, was the only person who would hire me because I was so on fire about justice. She hired me, and after about 18 months, she said, "You can't work here." He was like, I said, what you mean I can't work here? Because we got to fight. No, see, the we, that's over. But because you disrupt every staff meeting with the same speech, and we're done with that. So, but what she did do for me, and I thank her to this day, she said, "But I'm gonna give you literally a closet in the back of my office, and we're gonna take the shelves out, and we'll let you do your own project. You know so much. We'll let you do your own project there." And I realized it was harder than it looked, but I also realized I had some skill at it. And she incubated my first effort. And I wound up winning the Reebok International Human Rights Award for my work trying to reform the San Francisco Police Department, Oakland Police Department, and was on my way. But the great thing about it wasn't that she recognized, and I think we have to do this, sometimes people aren't a great fit in their first slot. And we often just get bounced out at that point and declared a failure. She leaned in further to try to figure out where could I fit. And as a result, the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights has closed 5 youth prisons in California. We've cut the youth prison population by 80%. and it's still going. So thank you for Eva Patterson.
So we all talk a lot about entrepreneurship, and you embody that in what you've done. Given where the economy's headed, given where wealth creation, value creation is likely to come from these days, how can we create sort of more models for developing more black entrepreneurs? And do you think that's important?
Look, I think it's critical. I mean, first of all, I look at everything from the point of view of how does this impact African Americans, Latinos, Native Americans, women and men, but people of color who have not done well. When I look at what's going on with technology, from that perspective, I see smart screens, apps, robots, drones, Negro job killers. I put them all in the same, Negro job killers. Driverless cars, Negro job killers. Who drives for UPS? Who drives for Federal Express? So I'm looking at a future on rushing that is going to disrupt a lot of what we've done in the past. Right. A lot of our old hustles are going to be wiped out by technology. And so I say to myself, if we're not careful, black labor will be irrelevant. Black wealth creation will be impossible because we're not even where the new power is. I spent, when I was working for the president, for 6 months. Best 6 months of my life, followed by the worst 2 weeks, but we'll talk about that later. But when I was working for the president, I learned something that was tough to learn. Our strategy since the March on Washington had been focused on Washington, D.C., focused on politics, focused on getting more black mayors, focused on the NAACP bringing lawsuits, so we're going to the Supreme Court. Could we ever have a black president? And we got that. We got the black president. We had 60 votes in the Senate as Democrats. Pelosi was running the House. If that was all we needed, everything should have been fine. And it took us getting there and looking around and realizing that's not the only power center. All these black folks like myself going to law school, trying to be like Thurgood Marshall, I tell them now, have you heard of Scalia? Don't go to law school, start a tech company and hire a lawyer. We've got to have a different approach, you know. And so I feel like, you say, is entrepreneurship important? We always hustle. The problem right now is our young people don't know where to hustle. So you have 1 million black kids this weekend playing basketball. You ask them why. They want to be in the NBA. Why? They want to make money. Now watch them now. Don't be mad at them. They get up early. They work late. They're not even being paid. They're working on their game. They're working on their hustle on the court. But nobody has told our children that you got 1 million black kids getting ready for the NBA. The NBA is going to hire 15 kids a year. 15. There's only 450 people in the NBA. So we hustle. You got kids out there right now in the studio doing their raps, working on their flow. They're brilliant. They're amazing. They're driving global culture right now. But nobody's told them that even the record labels can't figure out how to make money anymore because of technology. So I tell them, don't show me your rap, show me your app. You see.
Nice.
You gotta.
Nice. There we go.
We gotta expand our hustle. And that's my commitment, is to helping our young people understand we have to expand our hustle now. There won't be 1 million rappers signed. There won't be 1 million ballers signed, but there will be 1 million jobs created in technology, and we should have our fair share.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But let's drill down on that a little bit, though. So, a lot of people believe that, in addition to sort of technology displacing people, that the way that the digital economy is sort of structured, so, sort of a winner take all, sort of you come up with the idea, you build it, you get all the spoils, and other people get some of them, but it doesn't seem to trickle down a whole lot. So do you really feel that that's the answer to inequality? And are we just going to wind up with, well, some black folks win, right, because they join, and but everybody else, just like the whole society, falls further and further behind?
Well, I think it has to be a both and. When I say we have to expand our hustle, I don't mean we need to stop worrying about politics, stop worrying about policy, stop worrying about our public schools, but we have to add some things that we maybe didn't know that we needed to add before. So that, to me, that's really important. And I also think, part of what we're seeing with Yes We Code, I've gotten a chance now to go all across the country. Yes We Code is an effort to get 100,000 young adults of color trained to be top-level computer coders. And for me, I remember when I was growing up, they had these ads on TV, United Negro College Fund. It said, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Well, in an information digital economy, technological genius is a criminal thing to waste. And when we do these hackathons, we've been to Detroit, we've been to Oakland, we've been to Pittsburgh. I was in Detroit yesterday. Genius. We are wasting genius in the black community. We go into these hackathons and these young people of color are asked to solve a problem, to identify and solve a problem. We bring in engineers from Google, engineers from Facebook, engineers from Salesforce.com. They sit down across the table from these young people. They're coming from some of the worst schools in America. And these young people blow these engineers' minds with how smart they are, with how creative they are, with how tenacious they are. Every single time on day 2, when we show up, the kids are already there at the site trying to get in, wanting to do something positive. The problems that they identify are problems that Silicon Valley doesn't even know exist. Problems in the foster care system, that they're trying to figure out apps that can help them inside the foster care system. Problems in the juvenile justice system. We had one young guy that said, I just want to build an app to alert me to when my court dates are. Now, don't be mad at him, because young black kids do stuff, young kids in the suburbs do stuff, they usually do it in their daddy's basement. Our kids do it on the street, they get caught. That's not the problem. The problem is they get a ticket. The ticket says on March 29th at 4:15 p.m. at this address in this court section, you're supposed to show up. And they lose a piece of paper. By the time they get their third piece of paper and show up, they're already in trouble. And so the brother said, can't there be an app for that? Can't there be an app for that? And so they built it. There's a young woman who, in the foster care system, said, all our clothes are donated to us. And they don't look good. And folks make fun of us. So we do things you may not want your daughter to do to get money so we can have clothes that look nice. Her app idea was, when people donate their clothes, take a picture of it and have it uploaded on an app so young girls can choose their own clothes. One of the business people said that could be a $500 million idea, because it's a global second-hand clothing market globally. We have young children walking around with billion-dollar ideas in their mind, but they have not been given the tools, the training, and technology to turn those ideas into solutions, into companies. And so Yes We Code, our entire mission is to find and finance that young genius. And so we're going to, just like United Negro College Fund, we want to do that for coding education. Mm-hmm. That's what we're up to.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So I can tell you now, Google, we will hire them.
Good.
Bring them to Google. Bring them to Google, because we want all that talent.
And you've been supportive of us, so we appreciate it.
So, but scaling that, right? 100,000 is that's a lot of young
big
people.
Number.
That's a big number. But there are a lot of kids of color to reach. Yeah. How do you think about scaling this and what does ultimate success look like?
Well, the good thing about us is there are already phenomenal programs that are out there that are already representing big pieces of the pipeline. And there's conversations about how those things get aligned. And so our job is actually not to do the coding education ourselves. Yes We Code got started because Prince, the rock star, who's been a supporter of my work for years, I was with him when the Trayvon thing went down. And when the verdict came back, we were together, and Prince said, every time you see a black kid wearing a hoodie, you think, well, there goes a thug. But when you see a white kid wearing a hoodie, you say, maybe that's Mark Zuckerberg. Same hoodie. Because the hoodie is a uniform of the community, but also of Silicon Valley. And I said, well, you know why, Prince? I said, that's because of racism. He said, well, it could be. Or maybe we haven't created enough black Mark Zuckerbergs. Maybe we need to do something about that. And so when we began to then try to figure out what to do, what we discovered was, before Prince and I launched this, what we discovered was there were already brilliant programs out there. There's a program called Code 2040, and you should give a round of applause. Code 2040 is doing extraordinary work. Dealing with college students who want to break into Silicon Valley. You have the Level Playing Field Institute that's dealing with K through 12. I could go through so many of our organizations: All-Star Code, Black Girls Code, Hidden Genius Project. And I don't want to leave anybody out, but so when I came back to report to Prince, I said, look, I think the groups are out there. People are helping our young people finally learn how to code. Prince said, well, who's helping the people who are helping the people? He said, that's what we fall down. He said there should be a big scholarship fund to help all of them. That's what we need to create. So as long as those groups continue to grow and scale in different ways with different populations, we want to be the group that, just like the United Negro College Fund, supports them all. Yes. So that's infinitely scalable.
Yeah, and this is the group that your efforts will end the pipeline excuse.
Exactly.
Right, end the pipeline excuse.
Because we can find them and finance them. The other thing, too, I just have to say this. Yeah. Please do not let anybody tell you that African American, Latino, and Native American young people, girls and boys, don't want to code. That is a lie. Nobody's told them that they could. Every single time we've done this, I've got Amy Henderson here, by the way. Give her or Amy a round of applause. Raise your hand. She's one of the big designers of this whole thing. Every single time we get a room full of African American, Latino, Native American young people. I don't care if it's 10 or 100, or we've done as many as 2,000. You can get them to want to become coders in 90 seconds by just 3 questions. First thing, does anybody in here have a smartphone? They all raise their hand. I don't care if they're 8. Now, I got my son's 10, he ain't got no smartphone, and won't have one. But, another story. No, I mean, down to 6 years old, they have one. All right, second question, I ask them. I'm an old dude, I'm out of it. Has anybody in this room ever downloaded an app? They all raise their hand. Proud. That's okay, third question. Has anybody in here ever uploaded one? And not one hand goes up. I said, that's because we are suckers. I said, nobody told you that when you download somebody else's app and you use it, you're making money for them. You're making money for somebody you've never met. Nobody ever told you that. You're sitting here moving your thumbs around, making money for somebody you've never met. Black people moving their thumbs around, making money for other people, used to be called picking cotton. I don't mean to offend nobody. But us doing stuff that makes money for other people is nothing new. I said the way you make money in this world today is you create your own app and you upload it, and people around the world can use your app. Now, who here wants to be a downloader only? Well, who here would want to be an uploader too? And every hand goes up. And then we talk to them about the fact that without a college degree, within 3 to 6 months, you can be earning $50,000 to $70,000 a year. Nobody's ever told our children that. Our children don't know, and our parents don't know, and our coaches don't know, and our preachers don't know that there are boot camps right now that for $12,000 are teaching people to get 50K jobs in 6 months with no college degree. Most of those programs are populated by white folks right now. But we've now got partnerships with the best boot camps. So what I'm trying to say is that these are practical problems. Yes, I'm an agitator. But I also, because I get agitated, think about what's going on. But once we know where the solutions are, we tend to do very well. African Americans have done well in sports. They didn't want us to play sports. We've done well in music. They said we could never be a music producer. You can sing, you can't be a producer. Then Berry Gordy came along. You can't imagine music now without African American producers. You can't imagine sports without Venus Williams and all of that. And then they wouldn't let us vote within the lifetime of people here. Now we got a black president. So we tend to do well once we focus on where the opportunity is. Right. We just have to do a better job of making sure that our young people know where it is.
That's great. I could talk about this all day, but I wanted to for a lot of the folks in the room here are in the Valley and actually are not technical. So what do you say about, but when you look around at the companies, my company included, we are underrepresented, not just in the technical jobs and the computer scientists where you say, oh, well, there are not enough people getting the degrees, getting the skills, but half of Google are non-technical people. They do business roles, they do what I do all these kinds of things. And the same is true for all of the companies here. And in fact, many of the leaders, I mean, I think we had a couple people at Google that we said weren't technical enough. And then they went on to start multi-billion-dollar companies, right? Oops, right? And so that goes on around the Valley. What do you say about, what's your perspective on breaking down those barriers so that more, we have black folks all over the country, people of color all over the country who could be, taking advantage of the opportunities in the tech sector, even if they don't have any technical sort of expertise?
Yeah, one of the great things, Reverend Jackson being engaged and being involved and asking some of these questions, one of the things that I've heard him point out a couple of times is that, there are black law firms, there are black-owned banks that could be a part of these IPOs. That would be a great place to start, that you should look at the whole value chain. I think that's really, really important. And I think it's part of the reason I think part of the reason why it doesn't happen is a different problem than before. I don't get the sense that there's an awful lot of malice in Silicon Valley. Like I've been blessed to meet an awful lot of people. I think that people are early in their careers often. They're early in their lives. Sometimes these are their first company or their first couple of companies, and they're just rolling with their crew. And they're just rolling with their crew. And Ben Jealous has this term, it becomes a mirrorocracy rather than a meritocracy, because you're just working with the people who you see right around you. So I think that we can help to expand people's view of where excellence is for their companies.
Great. Well, let's pivot to the criminal justice system, if we can. I think we got to. I'm getting signals to wrap it up, but you talked earlier, and Ben talked about Cut 50. Tell us about the summit. Sounds like it was an amazing success. Where do you go from here to take some concrete action?
I think that the simple goal should be to close prison doors and open doors of opportunity for young people of color. I just think it's just very simple. Close prison doors, open doors of opportunity. And the organization I work for, the Dream Corps, we have two initiatives. One is opening doors of opportunity, Yes We Code. The other is Cut 50. And I'll close with this. Thursday I was in a room with Eric Holder, Cory Booker, Newt Gingrich, the Koch brothers, 12 congresspeople, 3 sitting governors. And if you close your extreme right-wing Republicans, extreme left-wing, and in the middle. And if you close your eyes, you could not tell if it was Republican or Democrat talking in terms of saying we are spending too much money on prisons, they're doing too much damage, it doesn't make any sense. So I want you to know, we heard earlier that people are not despairing. We shouldn't despair, because there are real solutions to close these prison doors. There's a growing coalition. We think that we can get a bipartisan bill through the Congress, signed by the president this year, to begin rolling back this mass incarceration. And that's DC's job. And then here in Silicon Valley, the job of opening up opportunity for more people. You do those two things, and within a year or two, you're going to begin to see real success stories and real reason for hope.
Fantastic. Well, I think we're a bit out of time, but I just wanted to one thing I didn't get a chance to explore was your artistic side, which I know is quite deep as well. But sort of related to that, I just want to ask you if when you're going to be ready for the dance-off rematch.
No, it's never going to happen. Now listen, I'm gonna let Denmark get back on the stage, but I'm gonna tell you something right now. I struggle with low self-esteem. I just want you to know. And the one thing I thought I was good at was dancing. And I surprise people because they think I can't dance and I'm a nerd. So I was dancing at this thing, and then this dude walks in, and his staff goes, David Drummond danced better than you. And I said, David Drummond do a lot of things better than me, but he can't dance better than me. And he whooped my butt so bad. So anyway, no rematch. No rematch for David Drummond on the dance floor.
Just go. Yeah, sorry. Just go to YouTube.com and type in.
No. Don't watch it.
Van Jones,
Don't
David
watch it.
Drummond.
Don't watch it.
Thank you, Van. This is amazing.